Welcome to this week's episode of Coffee with a Journalist, brought to you by OnePitch. The guests on our show include some of the most notable journalists from the top US-based publications who cover topics including technology, lifestyle and culture, health, science, consumer products, business news, and beauty and wellness. We discuss their role, the types of stories they cover, what their inbox looks like, and how they connect with sources. Head to onepitch.co and look for the video page to learn more about our new video series featuring journalists from the show. Our guest on the podcast this week is Tom Matsuda, a Fintech reporter at The Block. As a Fintech reporter, Tom covers crypto wallets, Asia, and investments. Prior to The Block, Tom reported on neobanks, payment firms, and blockchain startups for Sifted. During the episode, Tom shares about the constant array of crypto news he receives, what kind of information he wants to see in a pitch, his personal thoughts on exclusives, and more. Let's hear from Tom now.
Welcome, everyone. This is Coffee with the Journalist. I'm Beck Bamberger, founder of OnePitch that makes this lovely show. We want our lovely publicists to know better what journalists want, how journalists can be our friends, not our annoying people in their inboxes. This is why we made this show, to help you a little bit more, and created OnePitch so that you can pitch better. And then I also run BAM, an agency that works with all venture-backed startups, and we are pitching tech reporters all the time. Another reason why OnePitch now exists. With us today, we're going to talk about some fintech stuff. We have Tom Matsuda here. He's from The Block. He's a fintech reporter. Welcome, Tom.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Live from London, too, by the way.
Yes, yeah.
Yes,
very
Tom.
Sunny London, actually.
Oh, sunny.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's very rare. You've got
Fabulous. Well, Tom, for those maybe not as familiar, and I'm actually asking this of now pretty much any outlet because there's many media outlets. What is The Block?
Yeah, so The Block is a remote-first publication. We cover digital assets with the view that they are a ubiquitous part of our future. It's basically anyone who's really interested, from investors, those just casually looking at the space, those working in the space, or those even kind of looking to make the jump into the space.
Crypto curious.
Crypto curious, exactly,
Yes.
yeah. We hope that we can kind of empower them with knowledge about crypto, and then they can kind of make decisions from then on out. Alongside having a news team, we're also really blessed to have a research team who really know their stuff, and we kind of work in symbiosis. Yeah, for me personally, though, I'm looking at fintech, and what that kind of means at like a crypto publication is that we look at the way crypto intersects with fintech. So say I did a feature on neobanks that are built on top of decentralized finance rails, or neobanks that are trying to be built on decentralized finance rails. And we look at things, say, like a neobank opening like a crypto exchange that would be of interest of us, or like vice versa, say a crypto exchange tries to get a banking license. That would be something I would be interested in.
Oh, okay. I like that you delineate too what the difference is, because someone maybe not too familiar with crypto, even including myself, I'm thinking like, well, isn't that all fintech? That's kind of just, it's about money, right? So is it? So thank you for those examples. Those are helpful.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think like that kind of distinction between the two is, something not really that well reported on, and that's what we hope.
Agreed. So that leads me to your inbox, Tom. Are you getting bombarded with pitches? How is it in there?
Last week was quite bad because I was in Paris for Paris Blockchain Week.
Oh, yeah. Oh no.
Yeah.
Okay, now this question has not been relevant for quite some long time. When you go to an actual, now I'm going to start asking this, an actual event where you're walking the streets, you're walking the floor, whatever, and people now get your info, does it immediately matriculate to, oh my God, my inbox is blowing up because people just met me now sending me stuff?
Yeah, so I put a tweet out last week saying that I was going there.
So do you regret this tweet?
Yeah, there was.
Oh no!
I think for an hour I got an email like once every 5 minutes.
Wow!
And I also had my Telegram was bombarded as well.
Wow! So tweeting works.
Tweeting works, yeah. I think also, I guess when you're on the list, like the media list, you're added to a lot of other lists. So I was getting lots and lots of emails. Some of them, great. Some of them not as useful as they could be. But it was quite an experience. I mean, I had a really great time there as well. So yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Were the pitches you did receive, again, for maybe this tweet, were they relevant, or were they like, hey, can we meet up? Can we do that? Or was it like straight pitching, like, hey, by the way, I have a client. Here you go.
Yeah, a lot of them weren't super relevant to what my beat is, but I did get a couple. So I wrote like kind of a mood piece for Paris Sport Shame Week, which was published on Tuesday, I think. And I did manage to kind of get a email that was relevant in, but that was maybe one of 3 or 4 kind of relevant emails which landed in my inbox.
Only that many? That's disappointing.
Yeah, I think like with a lot of crypto journalism, there's constant product launches and constant raises and stuff like that. And you just have to kind of filter out a lot of the noise, which is why I really work on making my inbox neat.
Okay, so I want to talk about that, because especially in crypto, there is a lot of noise. There are a lot of shenanigans happening, as always, in a novel or nascent industry when things are getting figured out.
Yeah.
How do you keep your inbox? It sounds like sparkling clean. What do you do?
Yeah, so actually for the purpose of this interview, I made it inbox 0. So I'm in there right now.
Wait. For this interview, you're like, hold up, wait, let me make sure the inbox is clean.
Because I knew this was going to come up in the conversation. So I
love it.
Do some preparation.
I've never had someone clean up their inbox before this show.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I take it very seriously.
Wow, this is a new level.
I mean, it might not be so clean. I don't know. I might get a couple emails in as we're chatting.
Gosh, that is great.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure.
Okay, so but why cleaning? Is it you get it's deleted, or do you flag and file?
No,
What do you do?
I never delete anything. I use I don't use the Gmail desktop or like web browser.
Yeah.
I have a separate email provider, and that has like a really neat like folders section. So I every email I get, I sort into something, and I also pin things if they're kind of.
Wait. You pin emails? What tool is this? What is this?
It's called Spark. Other email providers are available there.
Spark. Okay, this is new information for us here.
But yeah, that's what I use.
Oh.
And so you can pin them, and then that's all kind of sorted. There's like folder function, and like obviously I have my non-work emails on there as well, and it's all in kind of one neat thing. My non-work email is less clean, but yeah.
Wow, so far we've learned of a whole new tool.
Yes,
this is amazing, Tom, and you've cleaned it up just for us. Wow, I'm loving this. Okay, so for pitching preferences, what is a good pitch to you? And therefore, what is a bad pitch?
I think, this is something I've tried like thinking a lot about. So I would say I like speaking to people who don't email me that much, but when I know they're going to email me, it's of kind of high quality. Like I think every day every day I get lots of emails being like, oh, this person's going to give comment on this particular event that's happened today. Very rarely those make it into my reporting. It doesn't really add that much for me. So I just want, as possible, to be kind of straight on the point with what the news is, what the product launch is, what the raise is, etc., etc. I know that's not super, super helpful, but short, quick subject line, which is clear and relevant to my beat. Is always great.
So let's talk a little bit more on subject lines. Those are a big thing. My last guest was talking from Margot from Capital B, was saying, I want to know the whole thing in the subject line. Like, put it in there. Is it an exclusive? Is it about whom? Is it about, never just drop a subject line that says exclusive. Exclusive about what? So can you elaborate? And maybe you have some examples in your inbox of like, oh, here's one I'll definitely open.
Yeah, let me have a look.
Yeah, go in there with your 2 emails so far.
So say, I can't say what the startup is, but say they mention the startup, and then it says fundraise, and then it says exclusive. That is very clear to me of like what that's going to be about, and that's like in like 3 or 4 words, and that subject line's really easy. It's often like for me, like the subject lines with capital letters, that is a bit, I don't know, it looks not spammy, but I just flick past that. Like question marks as well. I'm not really sure what the question is, in that subject line. But yeah, it's just useful if it says like yada yada announces yada yada from etc. and just keep it to the point. Yeah.
Okay.
It's not super helpful, but yeah.
That is helpful, actually. And within a pitch, this is something else we always like to discuss and go into. Is it helpful to have the assets attached or linked, or, hey, here's more information? Or what I like to do is, hey, here's the 3 people or 4 people that can speak on this or can help flesh out this story. This person, this person, this person, like their LinkedIn's or something. So I can show the whole array of the story and who I have basically as access to you. Is that something you also want to see? Or is that like, no, if I'm interested, then I get more into it?
Probably not on the outset.
Okay.
That's something I'd like to see. Yeah, if I do the interview or speak to the correct person, and then those assets are sent afterwards are really useful in terms of like images and etc. But like if you're introing me like an entirely new client, it's helpful to put like links within the pitch, being like of their like LinkedIn page or their Twitter page, so I can learn a bit more about who that person or what that company's like.
Okay.
That's helpful. Yeah. And as a note, I'm very open to like intros without like a hard news kind of bent in there, like just to get to know the startup, because you never know, like there may not be a news bent now, but there could be a news angle, a month down the line, or even.
Indeed.
So I'm always open to that, especially if it's within my beat as well.
Yes. I kind of like that as like the slow burn pitch,
Yeah.
It's not right now, I need it out in 3 days, but it could possibly turn into something.
Yeah, and especially like I'm always on the lookout for feature ideas, and I get inspiration by speaking with startups or founders, so or any client really. So you never know, like your client might flick the switch inside of me and inspired to write a feature, maybe not about completely always just about that startup, or say like there's a trend happening in fintech or crypto. Yeah, that fits within what I'm writing.
That's good. So is that where you, it sounds like, get story inspiration just organically from conversations?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
That's good to know. I like to ask that because some people like, they go on walks, or they, chat with their editor, or they go to dinner parties, or, something like that. So everyone has their own ways.
I guess it's a mix of all those things that you've said. Also just, walking around, living life, meeting people.
Living life. Yep.
That's how the inspiration for those longer stories come about.
Do you have a preference, Tom, on exclusives or embargoes? Do you like an exclusive?
Yeah, I'm happy with an exclusive.
Okay. Like this piece on this funding piece that you just did, Genie's raises $150 million from Silver Lake. This was earlier this month. Was that an exclusive, for example?
No, I think that was breaking. breaking.
Okay.
No. So yeah, like I guess for me, like there's almost like 3 different types of stories I cover. It's like features, breaking news, and then embargoes. There's a lot of funding stories come over as embargoes. I'm definitely open to them. Yeah.
Okay, this is good.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's nice to have that, a little bit of time to kind of speak to people properly and like be prepared for that interview.
Yes, have a second. Yes.
Yeah, and then like really flesh out what that, especially if it's like a seed stage startup, flesh out what that startup's trying to do. Yeah, so that's, I'm definitely open to them.
Okay, this is good, everybody, to kind of know.
Today's interview will continue after this brief message brought to you by OnePitch. Are you curious to see the unique ways OnePitch helps PR professionals and marketers pitch journalists? Head to onepitch.co to learn about our new OnePitch score and see how easy it is to find the right journalist to pitch your news to. Sign up for your free account today. Now, back to today's episode.
One thing, too, we like to get off the table here, Tom, is what to you is a true exclusive?
That's a very good question. Sometimes exclusives are just things that you find yourself for your own kind of inquisitive
Is
reporting.
that true? Is that like, have you dug around, you find something? Now, and some people have said that answer, like the only exclusive is one I find myself on this show. And I'm like, oh, damn, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I have dug around and found things.
Okay.
Which people, I guess, haven't. Yeah, I don't know how you really define it, because it's always like, if you have an exclusive, then people always, if it's, newsy enough, people always follow that reporting. So I don't know. I'm open to them always. Happy to chat about them, especially. Yeah, I don't know. Some companies that we speak to, they're quite keen on, being in the block.
Yes.
And then that can be quite, that can be fun.
Okay. Do you, though, have a hard and fast rule of, okay, it's only considered an exclusive if I am the first to have the piece of news? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay.
Yeah, sometimes, you are offered exclusives, which are not really exclusives.
That's right.
I can't think of one that comes to mind right now. Let me see if I type one in.
Yeah, see if you see anything.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I see anything that comes straight to mind right now. But often, you get an exclusive and it's like a smaller part of the story, or which is already covered by another publication, or it's an exclusive because nobody else wants to cover it.
Yeah, and you're left with the scraps.
Yeah, it's not like the nicest feeling, I guess. But there are also things, that we would cover, which maybe no other publication would cover. So I guess you could think of that as an exclusive as well. But yeah, I'm not like ruled by exclusive. It's like, yeah, it's nice to have.
Okay, nice to have. Okay.
Yeah, and it's not, if in the release you can really tease out how that actually is exclusive.
Yes.
That is helpful. Yeah, because we will check.
Yeah. Have you ever been kind of bamboozled where you're like, oh, great, cool. This is a full exclusive. I'm the only one. And then like you're in a call or you're in the interview and you're going, oh, wait a second. Oh, I'm only going to have it. Like, has that been discovered?
No, that hasn't happened to me so far.
Oh, thank God. Okay.
That's
an icky feeling.
Yeah, that would not be the nicest feeling if it happened to me.
Okay, that's good. Okay, Tom, especially being over in London, what are you reading, watching, listening to? You got any book tips? We'll take everything.
Yeah, so in terms of what I read, I usually don't. I kind of try to read things outside of my beat.
Smart.
So
keeps your brain alive.
Yes, I just finished. Yeah, just because every day I'm always reading tech journalism or fintech journalism, and I love it. But yeah, I always like to have something on the side, which is completely unrelated as well.
Yeah, fiction, nonfiction. What you got?
Yeah, I just finished reading this story called "Love in the Big City." It's by an author called Sang-Young Park.
Okay, looking it up.
Yeah, so it's this queer novel about this South Korean guy who's just kind of living his life in Seoul and just growing up, being there and just getting drunk in clubs or like falling in love, going on vacation. It's kind of one of those more like, there isn't really like you don't read it for the plot, it's more for the kind of the mood. It really captures, like you can really kind of feel, that this is probably a lot informed by the author's experience. So it's a fun one. I really enjoy it.
Here's the opening line on Audible. Young is a cynical yet fun-loving Korean student who pinballs from home to class to the beds of recent Tinder matches.
Yeah.
I'm in.
That makes it sound very salacious, but it
sounds just like life,
Not as salacious as that.
I love it. Yeah. Okay. I just finished Cult of We, so I need something that's a little less of a roller coaster right now. Oh, God. Oh, it's so good. I mean, but it's in the tech space, written also by journalists from the Wall Street Journal who did an amazing job of the detail. It's excruciatingly researched. I wondered at times, like, how did you know this conversation, that thing happened? It is remarkable. And it is about the absolutely devastating implosion of...
Yeah,
WeWork.
It's funny you bring that up because I'm watching the Apple.
Oh, the We Crashed. Yeah, there's multiple. I love, by the way, how entertainment is having a great time right now, spurred by the dishevelments of Silicon Valley. There's a lot of money being made on the blowups of the tech world right now. And I'm like, interesting how one blow up in one industry can be the pot of gold for another, Yeah,
I'm curious to see in like 5 years' time what the stories will be like. Would be interesting.
I agree. What else are you listening to, watching, anything, Tom? Well, besides the We Crashed, we got that. Is it good, by the way? It is good.
I really enjoy it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's really good, really well shot. It's really well acted. Yeah, I was not as familiar with the WeWork story as I could have been. So it's super useful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really, really like it.
Yes.
What else am I watching? Not really that much else apart from that, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. Is there anything you're like, oh, it's on my list, I haven't gotten to it yet, or anything like that?
It's another show on Apple. Jinko on my list as well.
I haven't heard of that one. Okay.
Yeah, it's like this story of, it's actually another Korean show, but it's a story of a Korean woman who has to immigrate to Japan. And yeah, it's just kind of, it's one of those kind of almost like Dickens like family sagas, and it's set across like 3 different generations, and it's all told like not linearly. So it just cuts between like, I think the 40s, 60s, and the 80s. Yeah, it's really great. I've read the book from it before, so I've been meaning to try and watch the show, but I haven't managed to do it.
That's good. Okay, Tom, yeah. I have a little fill in the blank section. Actually, I usually do it earlier, but I'm bouncing around here today. So, okay. So here we go. I have a phrase and you can just fill in with the answer. Does that sound good?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, here we go. My favorite sources always.
Reply quickly.
You'll never get a response from me if.
Yeah, if you message me on LinkedIn. I'm on email.
Oh, LinkedIn. Okay.
Yeah, I'm an email, Telegram, Twitter kind of person.
Okay, those 3. Those are the 3. Okay. You can follow up with me if.
So if I've replied to your email and then I haven't got back to you after that and you've sent a follow-up, please.
Oh, so you got to get the reply first to get the warranted. Okay, that's a good distinction.
But yeah, you can, to be honest, I'm open. Yeah, you can follow up with me.
Okay.
But yeah, if you follow up like 3 times, then maybe means that it's not, it's not right for us, especially if it's completely unrelated to fintech or crypto.
Yeah. The appropriate amount of lead time for a story is?
Anything between 2 to 5 days.
2 to 5 days. Okay, that's pretty quick, Tom. That's good.
Yeah, that's quick.
My favorite stories to write are?
Yeah, my favorite stories are features. I like to really dig deep into specific sectors or scenes. So yeah, like the story I wrote on Paris Blockchain Week last week, I dive deep into French blockchain startups and some of the kind of issues that they might run into. Yeah, those are the kind of long feature stories I really like writing. And, you know, I always love a good scoop when I'm able to kind of draw on out, as every journalist does.
I think that is a common answer. I think every journalist who like loves this industry is like, oh God, a scoop or something you spend a lot of great diligent time on, and it's your baby to have that piece come out. I think about that reading like stuff in the New Yorker or in the New York Magazine and just like, oh my God, how long did this take for this person to come up with this? Like weeks, sometimes months, sometimes pieces are months and months in the works.
I would also say like at the block, you know, we do a lot of breaking news as well. And like there's also kind of a thrill of like getting something, learning something really quickly and getting it out and being the first person to break something is always great as well.
The best compliment I received about my work was?
I feel like great journalism actually annoys people more than it more than you get compliments about it. But yeah, I'm always happy when like a source kind of reaches out and says that I've actually faithfully told the story that they, you know, were really, that they kind of, how should I say? Yeah, that they kind of were comfortable telling me. Yeah, in general.
So they've told you, thank you for, you captured it.
Yeah, you captured it. I'm always really happy when I get that kind of message. Yeah, when you're like, oh, you've actually captured it. Like,
that's good.
Oh, well, I got. But in general, I'm not really someone who thinks that much about compliments. Yeah, as I said, I think great journalism can upset people as well, as much as it.
Well, that maybe leads to the answer to this next question, the final question, Tom, for today. What is the future of journalism?
Yeah, that's such a huge question.
It is.
Well, yeah, just being someone who's relatively new to the industry, like I think I'm closing up to a year now. I'm quite a young.
You're relatively new, yes. So you got in it with eyes open. You're not been around since the 90s here, sir.
Completely. I would say I would want like the route into journalism to be less kind of opaque. When I was at uni like last year, it wasn't always clear like what the story was going to be for me, like how I would actually get into journalism. Got a lot of rejections in the beginning, and I feel like there's these kind of 2 paths of like either getting an internship or going to journalism school and learning through that. But I just kind of feel like, the process of actually getting into journalism and having, younger candidates, but also more diverse candidates as well in journalism, I think. I don't know. I'm not sure where I'm going with here, actually.
That's okay. But also, you're one of the rare ones we sometimes have on here that have not been in it 10 years, haven't been there since maybe back in the 00s or something like that. So it's an interesting perspective of someone who is recently out of school and decided to go in this industry, you have the information the most recent upon you. In other words, it's not like, oh shit, here I am 20 years later and journalism sucks, something like that. It's now. It is truly now. You were making the conscious choice for now. So I think it's interesting. Do you feel confident on journalism here to stay? We got to have this and so forth?
Do you mean journalism as an industry?
Yes, as an industry in previous times. And the narrative has changed, I will say, upon doing this show where it was kind of, doom and gloom and everything's ending and everything. It's definitely changed, I'd say, to more of an optimistic view.
I mean, I'm very optimistic. I think there's so many, crypto and fintech as an example, there's so many new industries spurring up, which, need dedicated coverage to that. And that really is the role of journalism, to hold those industries accountable and provide information about them. I'm not sure if there'd be any other industry that's able to do that in that way, to provide that kind of critical analysis on something that's really only emerged in the last 10 years or so.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I would be quite optimistic, but I guess it depends on what kind of beat you're covering as well. I'm not sure.
It does indeed. Well, Tom Matsuda, thank you for being on for today. This was lovely. Congrats on being a rather new journalist at the block into something pretty complex and deeply in the trenches and evolving on the day-to-day basis. That's so great. And Tom, kudos to you. You get the award, cleanest inbox I've heard so far on this entire show. And way to spruce it up before even showing up on this. I'm going to ask that now, Tom. Hey, wait a second. Did you clean out your inbox right now before we recorded that? That is great. You've set now the new bar.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it, Beck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Coffee with the Journalist featuring Tom Matsuda from The Block. If you enjoy listening to our show, make sure to subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and anywhere else you listen to podcasts. And if you have a moment, please leave us a review to share your thoughts about the show and today's guest. To learn more about the latest tools on OnePitch and to subscribe to our weekly podcast newsletter, head to our website at onepitch.co. We'll see you all next week with a brand new guest and even more insights about the journalists you want to learn more about. Until then, start great stories.